I do apologize. Am I disturbing you?
No, please. Do come in, Mrs.
My name is Miss Alice de Bouvier. I'm Mr. Holmes' new neighbor.
Oh, I didn't have the pleasure to... I am Dr. John Watson. Could we provide you with any assistance?
She is not the concern, Watson.
I'm... Then, what is this about?
That child standing sniffling behind her. Get rid of him, Watson.
But he is shivering with cold. And he is upset. What happened to him?
Little Tom knocked at the wrong door.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh, boy, come in. Warm yourself by the fire. Can I offer you a cup of tea, Miss de Bouvier?
Well,
It is not as though we are disturbing you-know-who. Are we?
I suppose not.
Since you are our new neighbor, it is perhaps better that you know what he's like.
You're starting to worry me.
Well, Mr. Holmes is relapsing. This illness that he has seizes him when he finds himself with nothing to do. He becomes completely asocial. And alas, this is a very difficult, medically incurable case. Now, this must stay between us.
Of course, I understand. How very sad.
But there is a cure, if only a temporary one. A thrilling inquiry. Most certainly. If he refuses this one, then his condition will worsen.
Oh, I am still here, you know. I didn't fall out of the window. Very well, then.
Thank you, miss.
Now tell me, boy, what brings you here?
It's my father, sir. He's missing. I don't know what to do.
What's his name?
George Hurst, sir.
Missing, eh? And what do the police say?
The police, they don't believe me. They say he's just abandoned me. But that's a lie.
And when was the last time you saw him?
3 weeks ago. He left for a new job. But this time, he was acting a bit strange and angry.
In what way?
He said to me, "Son, I'm out on a special job. Don't you dare move from here." I think something went wrong.
3 weeks? That's a long time.
Well, every day I thought he would show up. And anyway, I can look after myself.
What were you thinking? You and your father are both at risk. You should have come to me much earlier.
I was afraid. I ain't got no family, and I've got no other place to go. If our landlord finds out that father left me, he'll throw me out on the street.
Tom, you've been very resourceful. We shall be discreet.
If only my mother was still here.
Very well. Your address, please, Tom.
12 Dorset Street, the first floor, door E. It's in Whitechapel, sir. But I ain't got no money to pay.
Who asked for money, Tom? Your case seems to be the very medicine I need. I'll meet you there shortly.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Good day, Mr. Holmes.
Well, if it isn't young Wiggins. And I see you found yourself a job.
If you can call it that. I hate it. But if you've got any proper work for me...
I just might be in need of your assistance later. Wait here. Interesting. A missing person. I should find out more. You see that gentleman? I need you to follow him and report back to me.
All right, Mr. Holmes. They won't let me pass. I'll need to find another way. Boys from the Bruisers gang. Better keep out of their way. interesting. What's going on in the yard?
Mr. Holmes, you have a visitor.
Oh, just ask him to wait.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. This young lady refuses to wait for anything.
What?
Father!
Caitlin!
Miss Caitlin's boarding school was flooded. Everyone was sent home.
As if it could smell any mustier.
My word, how is it possible that you have grown up so fast?
You'll be staying. Wherever will we put you?
Holmes, I'll give her my room, of course.
What do you have to say, Kate?
You're on a new case? A respectable lady who's being blackmailed? Or is it a love story between a prince and a suffragist?
However did you guess?
You will tell me, won't you, Father?
We'll see. If you behave.
All right, then. Have fun. I'll go and unpack. Will you help me, Mrs. Hudson?
Holmes, about Caitlin.
Yes?
She has grown up, hasn't she? Don't you think it's time to tell her?
To tell her what, Watson?
Well, about her father.
Never. Absolutely never. Do you hear me?
Holmes, you were responsible for the death of her father. You owe her the truth. She is old enough now.
I would lose her. Can't you see that? She must never know, Watson. Is that clear?
Holmes.
It won't and can't happen.
Good day, gentlemen. Welcome to my home. How may I help you?
Good day to you, Lord Marsh. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. I hope we're not disturbing you. You are with your physician?
Yes, this is Dr. Reuben Fisher. But no, please, I'm intrigued by your visit, Mr. Holmes.
I'm glad to hear it. The last thing I'd wish is to upset the patient. Lord Marsh, can I just say that I admire all of your efforts in assisting the poor of London?
Yes. It is a war that we must fight, on our streets and now too from my home. You must surely have noticed those bags full of items, clothing and books for the unfortunate.
That is inspirational. At my own humble level, I too try my best to support those in need. I thought perhaps that I could be of some assistance.
I don't see why not. I already have the valuable assistance of Dr. Fisher, who happens to be my personal physician.
It's curious. Your face seems familiar to me, Doctor. Oddly, I'm associating it with Whitechapel?
Well done. You are right. I do occasionally frequent a few hostelries over there, would you believe it? Not that I am a drinker. But there, dressed as a working man, I can approach the other fellows to see if they might be interested in a special job.
A special job? May I ask what you're referring to?
Certainly. Since Lord Marsh began his special education program in 1889, he foresaw that such people would need an occupation of some kind. And so, with or without education, we propose these opportunities to work with Lord Marsh. It offers the less fortunate a chance to help make London a better place.
That's remarkable.
Yes, indeed. In order to truly see, one requires vision, yes, but also insight. And Lord Marsh has believed this since he was a child.
Oh, Dr. Fisher makes it all sound so romantic. Let's close this topic.
Forgive me, Lord Marsh. You're looking very pale. Might I offer Dr. Watson's assistance?
That is kind of you, but I feel confident that I can provide Lord Marsh with the care that he requires.
How long have you been like this, my lord?
I'm fine, Dr. Watson. Don't fuss. It's only influenza.
In that case, why are you taking such powerful painkillers?
Excuse me, what do you mean?
Mr. Holmes is referring to the pills on your table.
I'm sorry, but that's a medical confidentiality.
I can't quite work it out. Do you have any idea as to the number of people who might owe you their lives?
Oh, don't embarrass me, Mr. Holmes. But indeed, these people have become like a family to me.
That would be a fairly large family, I imagine.
Yes, the list would be longer than any of your short stories. As for how large, well, Fisher is the one who keeps record.
Might we take a glance at the list?
I regret that is impossible. It is confidential. I stand firm upon that point, Mr. Holmes.
I quite understand. We'll most certainly send a donation towards your educational program. I shall take my leave then. I thank you both, and I wish you all the very best, gentlemen.
Likewise, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, do you have any news about my father?
Tom, not so fast. I wanted to ask you if you remember your father mentioning anything about a special education program.
An education program? No, he only talked about a special job.
What's this box, Tom?
Oh yeah, I just found it, Mr. Holmes. It was ever so well hidden. I've no idea why.
Well done, my boy. It could prove very helpful. Search, Toby, search.
Holmes, what are you doing here? What are you planning?
A mission of my own. You must play the role of the conscientious doctor while I sneak inside Marsh's house. That's the only way of helping little Tom.
How can I help you?
I came to visit Lord Marsh.
What for?
I would very much like to see Lord Marsh, if you please.
Oh, you're so clumsy. Can you please not...
I have to visit Lord Marsh and offer him my services.
Fisher, please allow Dr. Watson to enter. Doctor, it appears that you were impatient to pay me another visit.
Indeed. Will you allow me to examine you? A second opinion, so that the great Lord Marsh does not become the late Lord Marsh.
Since you put it that way, very well.
Shall I retire to your office, Lord Marsh?
No, please, Doctor. I insist that you stay. I shall need your assistance.
Will you break anything else?
I'll try my best. I'd suggest that your current weakness is perhaps more than a simple case of influenza, Lord Marsh.
Where might your companion be, Dr. Watson?
Oh, he's busy poking his nose into other people's business, I'm sure.
My lord, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I must remind you about your meeting.
Is it already time? My apologies, Dr. Watson, but we are expected elsewhere. Might we offer you a lift?
You are going out? I'm not sure that's wise in your condition.
I value your opinion, but misery never rests, and I am needed.
Well, do please take good care of yourself, Lord Marsh. I'll send you my diagnosis, Dr. Fisher.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. Farewell.
A laughing matter. It is just as I feared. Lord Marsh is suffering from tuberculosis.
You don't say.
Yes, I do say. And Holmes, he will die if he is not transferred to a sanatorium as soon as possible.
And yet both Lord Marsh and Dr. Fisher are doing their best to hide this fact. How interesting.
But why?
Why indeed, Watson?
Oh, dear God. You don't think that Lord Marsh contracted tuberculosis while aiding the poor? How terrible. I have a commitment that I can't possibly cancel. Holmes, during my absence, please be extremely careful. This disease is highly contagious. And remember that we have women at home.
Thank you, Miss Alice. Until later.
I'll see you soon, Caitlin.
Where have you been?
Our neighbour lent me a book. She is so kind. I think she likes you.
I doubt that.
How is your investigation going?
It's going. Dracula?
Yes. It's forbidden reading at my boarding school. Did you know?
Well, well.
Father, that boy Wiggins, does he come here very often?
He helps occasionally in some of my cases. Why do you ask?
I'd like to talk to him.
Talk to him?
Father, back at school there are only girls to talk to, and they are so boring. I'm sure Wiggins has lots of exciting stories to tell about his life in London. It would be so romantic.
Run, little rabbit, run! Find him! You won't get far! Where is he?
He was poor. He was poor.
Breathe, Lord Marsh. It's almost over.
Who are you?
George Hurst from the 1st Lovett Scouts, here to deliver justice.
An old soldier. How ironic. Did we refuse you on our special education program?
It's true, I was refused. An old wounded soldier is useless to you, but he can still be dangerous.
We hunted a lot in these woods, but I didn't expect to become the prey. I have lived a grand life without any limits set by others. I will die a happy man, so you won't see me begging you, festering wretch.
Prepare to meet your maker.
George, lower your rifle, please, for Tom's sake.
Holmes! My, an almost worthy opponent.
Tom? My Tom? If you've endangered my lad in any way, you will pay dearly.
I assure you that Tom is safe in London with a well-trusted friend. And now it's time to end this.
By all means.
George, listen to me. If you're seeking an apt punishment and vengeance, killing Marsh will give him exactly what he wants. He would die knowing that he had fulfilled his life through his absolute control of it. But if you allow Marsh to live and be arrested, he will suffer a punishment far greater than you or I could deliver. His ball and chain will be the debilitating tuberculosis. It will drag him painfully and slowly to his demise behind bars.
You're mad. You're both mad.
Let's go and find Tom.
Not just yet. See, Lord Marsh, you will die here, although not by the gun. You'll die slowly.
Don't do this, George.
Detective, take a look here.
This is how you became sick, Lord Marsh. The beheading of your victims who were suffering from tuberculosis was what infected you. Poetic justice.
Holmes, you cannot fully understand why we helped so many and sacrificed a few. But don't let me die like this. Just kill me now.
Mr. Hurst, you've already served brutal justice to Lord Harrington and I hope Lord Collins and Dr. Fisher. Taking that into consideration, you may as well kill Lord Marsh and end the Quartermain Club completely. No loose ends. Yes! Well done, Watson!
Holmes, you're playing bowls? Indoors?
Not just any old bowls, Watson. Lawn bowling.
Seriously? With your injury? Oh, no. Mrs. Hudson is going to murder you.
Well, that's it for now. Time to go. Would you care to join me?
You're incorrigible. And where are we going, Holmes?
I'm participating in the final stage of the annual tournament held by the London Archaeological Institute's bowling club. It's an official invitation. I'll just need to dress suitably and then we can leave. Mr. Holmes, you played very well yesterday. I'm obliged to you, Sir Charles. I play many outdoor sports. That's the key to my success. My friend Dr. Watson has decided to join me. Really? Mr. Holmes, would you like to see the first prize? A rare stone Mayan Quiche calendar.
Mayan Quiche?
Indeed. Their legendary king, Tekun Uman, has his statue just behind you. Although this one is a cast metal copy.
That?
Well, since only members may enter the clubhouse, we have exhibited the calendar outside. Please, explore. Ah, Mr. Holmes. Are you ready to begin the final game?
Oh, Daddy!
Hello, Mr. Bouvier.
Hello, Mr. Holmes.
Well, Caitlin?
Your costume!
Oh, don't you like it?
Oh, I do!
Caitlin, come on. Show some respect for your father.
You know, Father, Miss Alice was telling me all about her travels. She has already toured the world with her own father.
Your daughter is exquisite.
And just to think that she was aboard the Orient Express when it was attacked! What a dream!
Indeed.
She's so creative and imaginative. And that reminds me, would you allow Caitlin to visit me, so that she can practice playing the piano?
It's very kind of you, but I decided that Caitlin should stop playing the piano.
Oh, Father! Why did you say that?
Caitlin, we are neighbours. We'll meet again. Until then, I shall leave you with this book.
Thank you, Miss Alice.
The statue did it. It killed Zacharias.
Calm yourself now, Sir Charles. You've had a shock. Let the police do their duty.
What can a mere inspector like you do about it? You don't know anything.
A mere inspector? Phew. And now here comes Mr. Holmes.
Lestrade, are you here to receive a prize as well?
Very amusing, Holmes. You can go home. The ceremony's been cancelled. We've got a murder scene here.
Really? And to think I only came here for my prize.
I know, Holmes. I saw your name on the list of finalists. So go away.
You're not going to congratulate me?
What? Do you really think I'm that naive? You turning up out of the blue and then bam, a murder? There's a surprise.
Oh, you're making a spectacle of yourself, Lestrade. Let's just pretend that I am a simple consultant, your humble assistant.
Oh, all right then. A club member, Mr. Zacharias Greystoke, was killed at around 4 in the morning. There. Now, don't mess around.
I promise that I won't, Inspector. What do you make of the facts?
It's quite clear. The murderer intended to steal the Mayan calendar. He was caught by Zacharias Greystoke. He then took up the first weapon that came to hand, the statue's spear, and killed Greystoke. Then he fled, just as Sir Charles was coming out of the club. Unfortunately, we've been unable to find any trail beyond the club's wall. It's as if the murderer vanished into thin air. Well, take a look for yourself.
Sir Charles, are you able to tell me in detail what happened?
Ah, Mr. Holmes. Well, to prepare for the awards ceremony, I decided to spend the night here at the club. I was sitting alone at my desk when I suddenly heard a loud, metallic sound and a terrible shout. I hurried outside and well, I found the body of Zacharias. And I swear it, I saw the statue of Tekun Uman running away.
You saw the statue running?
It was dark, but yes, I'm sure of it. It was running, and it was making the most horrible metal sound as it did so. And can't you see, the pedestal is now empty.
Did you know the victim?
Yes, of course. It was Zacharias Greystoke. He is... was a club member, and an excellent bowler.
But why was he here so early in the morning?
Oh, I don't know.
Sir Charles, where did the Mayan calendar come from?
It was donated anonymously. We received it shortly before the tournament, with a letter asking that it be awarded to the winner.
Is the calendar valuable? Not really. It has historical value, of course. But to be truthful with you, Mr. Holmes, it isn't worth very much. May I go in the clubhouse? It's members only. I cannot authorize anyone unless that person has a written warrant from the police. And what about the statue?
No idea yet. I imagine the thief must have taken it somehow.
Right, so they were thieves, and they were very well equipped?
Yes, must have been. Then there's also Sir Charles's version, but
Please, go on.
he said this morning that he was alone at his desk when he heard a shout. He went outside and saw Greystoke lying on the ground and... Believe it or not, he said that there was no one else on the green that night but the statue itself running away.
You mean that the statue might have killed the victim? Interesting.
Absurd, more like. Besides, it was dark and foggy.
So, somewhat like your version, then.
Well, Holmes, your conclusions as my consultant?
My conclusions are approximate to Sir Charles's testimony.
Oh dear, you think the statue did it?
Everything points to the fact that the spear was thrown from the pedestal, and Mr. Greystoke appeared not to notice the killer.
Indeed. The journalists will be ecstatic about your version.
I would like to examine the victim and take a look at his belongings.
Oh, you've amused me at least, Mr. Holmes. Very well. I'll grant you authorization for the examination at Scotland Yard, but nothing more.
Traces of alcohol were found in the stomach. Apparently Zacharias had been drinking before his death.
These scars are old. This is where the spear entered the body. The murderer aimed for the heart. The weapon must have been thrown by a strong and skilled person.
Aren't you supposed to be investigating those cases of yours instead of bothering me?
Good day to you too, Inspector. I have a small favor to ask of you, a search warrant to investigate the murder at the club.
No, no, and no.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Look here. There's a person with a swollen eye who was concealed within this photograph. A dispute of some kind, you think, Watson?
Possibly. But it appears to me a characteristic symptom of a rare tropical disease that is found in South and Central America.
South America! Brilliant, Watson!
Happy to help.
Is it deadly?
Well, there is a chance he survived.
I shall ask Sir Charles, but who knows what he'll say.
I've an idea. There is only one hospital for such illness. The Hospital for Tropical Diseases. I have friends who work there.
Oh, yes?
Well, the chances are slim, but I'll pay them a visit. If he's in London, they would have seen him.
I found this photograph on your wall. You're in it, but do you know who these men are? Particularly the gentleman with the swollen eye.
Oh, him. But that's poor Mr. Albeit. He died from fever during an expedition to Guatemala 14 years ago. We were searching a Mayan Quiche temple, but everything went wrong. We were unable to enter the temple, and the expedition ended in disaster. I'm here, and here is Zacharias. And there is Bernard Marley, another member. He's over there, near the pedestal. By the way, he's the fellow who built that terrible statue. He created it, must have been 10 years ago.
Mr. Bernard Marley, I presume. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I have to ask you about an expedition to Guatemala.
Shh, not here. It's too dangerous. I'll give you my card. Visit me there where we can talk. Mr. Holmes, you must forgive my escape at the club. It wasn't a safe place to talk.
And it's safer here?
Yes, better here. Not my office. I have secured my foundry, you know.
Reassuring. Did you know Zacharias Greystoke, the victim?
Yes, he was a brave friend. Such good karma until yesterday.
Do you recognize the unwell man in this photograph?
By Jove, albeit. Yes, that's him. The poor fellow met his end in Guatemala. He was struck down by a terrible disease.
You were friends?
Not really, but he was an active member and a courageous man. Too courageous. You can't fight against the Quiche gods.
And what of the expedition? You were seeking a Mayan temple?
Yes, the temple of Tecum Uman. Another one of Charles's stupid ideas. We found it, but there was some kind of strange force that prevented us from entering. An evil aura. It was Tekunuman's emanation. We could all feel it. Albeit its disease worsened suddenly, there was nothing we could do. And now, with Zacharias' death, the curse has reawakened.
After 14 years.
Prophecies are timeless, even in the beyond. There is no escape.
Did Zacharias believe in the prophecy?
It is not a matter of belief, don't you understand? Zacharias was convinced that we could stop the curse by studying the calendar. What insanity! He sent me a message. He wanted us to visit the club and try to convince Charles to remove the calendar from the awards ceremony.
But you didn't go.
I knew Charles would refuse. Anyway, studying the calendar wouldn't help. Tekun Uman is far too powerful.
Your relationship with Charles Yellingham is...
Not friendly. Well, it is reciprocal. You know, most of his expeditions are failures because he is too focused on his hypothetical career to be in politics.
He has political ambition.
Well, that would be an understatement. He has ambitions for the House of Lords, and the club is his means of achieving this. It's also the reason for his disastrous management. But he still succeeds in finding money. I wonder how.
What's your opinion on Tekun Uman's statue having disappeared?
I don't know, but I have nothing to do with it. Nothing.
But in fact, you do. You made the statue.
That's true. But it was 10 years ago. You can't blame me for that.
Don't you think so? After all, it is the statue that is responsible for killing.
No! It's Tekun Uman. But who could imagine that a simple statue replica would be chosen by Tekun Uman? Nobody. I have to leave you now. I've got paperwork to do. And we've spoken too much. He could hear us. Tekun Uman. Well, goodbye then.
Caitlin's at Miss Alice's playing the piano. She disobeyed me.
Well, Holmes, I was inspired to... Oh, look here. The postman has made a mistake. He's delivered a letter addressed to Miss Alice.
Oh, he mistook 221B for 221C. Give it to me,
Oh, but-
Watson. How about telling me why you came here in the first place?
Mr. Holmes, why do you ask? I hardly think that I'm accountable to you.
Since you extended an invitation to my daughter against my wishes, I believe that you are.
So said the father, cloaked in all his severity. My word, you almost frightened me.
You won't say that. Very well. Ask Caitlin to come home now.
Oh, poor child, let her play. Such insouciance. So useful for covering up disturbing secrets. And since you intend to hide the truth from her...
What?
We all have our secrets.
You...
But don't worry, Mr. Holmes. Caitlin is a sensitive child, and I like her enormously.
Alice, come back in. I can do it. See? You're wonderful.
I like to think that the feeling is mutual. We wouldn't want her to know of your secrets, or for her to be unhappy. I have to go inside now.
Mr. Byron?
More doctors? Please. I've just received my treatment. I need to rest a while before I leave.
We would like to ask you some questions about an expedition that took place 14 years ago.
An expedition? What expedition? You're wrong. I've never left London.
Is it not you in this photograph from Guatemala?
Guatemala? Tekuna man! Dr. Baird! Come here quickly, I don't feel well!
What on earth is going on? Please, calm down. I'm sorry, my dear colleagues, but Dr. Brunt is waiting to give Mr. Byron a private consultation. You can wait here.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Weren't you paying attention? We have to wait, but we'll take advantage of the situation.
Oh, you're still here?
Obviously. We're waiting for Mr. Byron. Is he not with you?
No, the gentleman left directly after his consultation. Oh, he forgot to collect his belongings.
Holmes, it seems that Albeit has escaped.
Obviously. And he knows that we are aware of his true identity. Quickly. I know how to find him.
No! Don't kill me!
Calm down. It's over now. It's gone.
You? Oh. But why are you here? You're not doctors, are you?
No. Well, you're half right. Shall we remove these masks? Your true name is Albeit, is it not? You were a member at Charles Yellingham's club.
Yes, I was.
Can you tell us what happened here?
After your visit at the hospital, I quickly returned home. I was lying there on the sofa and felt an evil presence in the room.
An evil presence?
Never mind. It's probably the fever.
Or perhaps a living statue?
Yes. It was one of the double statues. I saw its shadow. I believed that it was searching for me, that it wanted to kill me. It was horrible.
As in Zacharias' murder, the statue came to life when its intended victim appeared in front of it. I must examine your residence. It may hold some clues. Tell us about your expedition to Guatemala 14 years ago?
It was in my former life.
What really happened there? You were said to have died.
I was ill with a terrible fever. I asked them to leave me there. I can't remember how. I only have flashes of memory. But by some miracle, I survived. I left an eye and one arm behind. It took me time. But at last, I managed to return to London.
Why do you use a false name?
That expedition signaled the end of my career. And my very life as I'd known it. I changed my name and my address. Now I'm weak and useless and alone. I'm a walking dead man.
Not for long.
Perhaps this was it. It was my curse to fade away little by little. Tekun man's revenge.
You are aware of Zacharias' murder, are you not?
Yes, and quite aptly I read that he was killed with a spear.
Aptly?
Well, he practiced archaeology almost as though it were a sport, seeking adrenaline. Imagine his state of adrenaline when he died, him being the prey.
And who would have been the hunter?
Tekun man? Whoever, whatever. It'll soon be over for me at any rate.
There's a locked door on the first floor. May I have the key for it?
All right, but there's nothing interesting inside.
There's a little bed in a small room. It's been used.
Well, it is for my son, Gulliver. After my official death, my wife and he left for Glasgow. On my return, I installed this room.
So they know about you?
My boy Gulliver visits occasionally. But I wonder, what is a life with a crippled father? They will lose me again.
Mr. Albeit, what is this?
How? It's impossible. How did you find it?
Answer me.
17 years ago, I built a model of Tekun man's temple. We stored it inside the club's globe before leaving for the expedition. I've no idea if it's still there. While in Guatemala, I had dreams about a missing part. A pyramid. Then, when we entered the temple, I experienced vivid visions.
Wait a minute. You entered the temple?
Well, yes, we did. And we found the pyramid from my visions. But I was too weak. I was unable to solve the mystery of its entrance. I failed there. I always wanted to understand why. So upon my return...
You rebuilt this final part according to your visions and...
Nothing. But I'm dying, and at least my son will see that I did my best to complete my life's work.
Mr. Albeit. Oh, you're here with your son.
Yes, obviously.
We have to talk with you, and it involves the police.
I see. Gulliver, go across the road to Mrs. James. This is an adult conversation.
Hold on just 1 second, please.
A pygmy?
As I suspected. Albeit brought him back from Brazil. You were both slaves there and you escaped together, am I correct?
You are. We are companions through life to death. He's more like a brother to me.
It's clear enough now. You and your accomplice are guilty to the murder of Zacharias Greystoke.
They had to pay for what they did. If only I'd had the time to get all of them. But Gulliver only did what I told him.
It's for the judge to decide that. But given the nature of judges, I doubt that he will be lenient towards a pygmy who kills an Englishman.
Father, Mr. Orson Wilde is here, and I'm going to stay with Miss Alice.
What?
Did you forget? Orson Wilde, you know, the star of American theatre. And he's visiting and staying with us. You did forget?
No, not that. I meant you wanting to stay with Miss Alice.
Yes, that's right. Miss Alice suggested it. She told me you couldn't possibly refuse.
It's just, I'd like to have been informed.
You'll have to get used to it, Mr. Holmes. Miss Caitlin is growing up.
Guess what, Mrs. Hudson? Mr. Wilde is here to study my father's character for his next play. And he won't be disappointed, will he? Father is so pig-headed.
I can't believe it! The great Sherlock Holmes standing in front of me! I'm sure that our two brains will...
Brains.
Mr. Wilde, your room.
Charming. This is such a fascinating city.
We need to talk.
I'd rather not. You're going to be angry again. Goodbye, Mr. Wilde.
Is it 5 o'clock already? I think I might go and ask Mrs. Hudson for some tea.
I forgot my hat. Father?
I'm just checking,
You've got something on your face. Is it makeup?
It might be. Practicing my disguises, you know me. No, don't touch that!
No, no!
Ah, Mrs. Hudson, with our tea.
Not quite. We have a visitor. However, the lady is not so much angry as perplexed.
Good day to you, gentlemen. My name is Mary Sutherland. I have come to you, Mr. Holmes, because I would give everything I have to know what has become of Mr. Hosmer Angel.
Why the haste, Miss Sutherland?
Mr. Hosmer Angel has disappeared, and my father, Mr. Winterbank, will do nothing. It makes me so angry.
Mr. Windybank is your stepfather, surely, since the name is different?
Indeed, I call him father, although he is barely older than myself.
And your mother is alive?
Oh, yes. Although I wasn't best pleased when she married again, and so soon after father's death, and to a man so much younger than herself.
What is your connection with Mr. Hosmer Angel?
I met him at the gasfitters' ball. Mr. Winterbank did not wish for me and Mother to attend. He never did wish us to go anywhere, but this time I was quite set on it. Fortunately, he left for France upon some business, and so didn't have any say in it. And I met Mr. Angel that night. We met again after that and would take walks together. But then father returned, and we could no longer meet.
Why was your stepfather against your going anywhere?
Well, he didn't like anything of that sort. He used to say that a woman should be happy in her own family circle.
Did Mr. Hosmer Angel make no attempt to see you?
Well, father was going off again in a week. And Hosmer wrote and said that it would be better for us not to see each other until father had gone. After that, he stopped writing.
Where does Mr. Angel live?
I don't know exactly. I address all of his letters to the Leadenhall Street Post Office for collection. Dr. Holmes, right after the first walk that we took.
Do you have your own income?
I do, from an inheritance. It was left to me by my Uncle Ned in Auckland.
Then you have all that you could wish for, naturally.
Well, I live at home and don't wish to be a burden to my family, so they have the use of the money.
Is there anything else that you can tell me about Mr. Angel?
He is a very shy man. He would rather walk with me in the evening, so as to be discreet. I put a missing persons notice in last Saturday's Chronicle. Here's a copy, and a letter from him.
Haha, a love letter. Yes, I see. As I anticipated, this validates my deductions perfectly.
What deductions, Mr.
Mr. Wilde. Holmes, tell her.
You should try to let Mr. Hosmer Angel vanish from your memory, as he has done from your life.
Then you don't think I'll see him again?
I fear not.
Then what has happened to him?
Your stepfather married your mother for her money, and also enjoyed the use of your income. But with your personal advantages, it was clear that you would not remain single for long, even with him keeping you at home. He disguised himself and reappeared as Mr. Hosmer Angel. He brought you as far as the church door, and then conveniently slipped away. To bring you to this conclusion in such a dramatic manner that it would leave a permanent impression upon your mind. You have been cruelly tricked, Miss Sutherland.
Oh, Mr. Holmes. No, I can't believe it. But we were engaged. Oh, it's horrible to think about. But, thank you for all you have done, Mr. Holmes.
Holmes, you could have been more diplomatic. What happened?
Just a small bomb.
Somebody wants to kill me? What for?
I don't believe that you were the target.
Who then?
Mr. Holmes, are you all right? I saw the bloke. I tried to catch him, but he escaped.
Can you describe the man?
He was thin, about 5'5", with black hair and a hair lip.
Wiggins, tell us everything you saw.
The fellow was watching your place, so I thought maybe he's a client. But then he took something out of his jacket and threw it, smashing your window. I shouted at him and he took off. I grabbed him by the sleeve, but he wriggled out of his jacket and left it. I'm sorry I didn't catch him, Mr. Holmes.
You did very well, Wiggins. Now, let's take a look at that jacket.
Here it is.
Good job, Wiggins. Here's a penny.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Holmes.
There could be a hidden message that's been written with some lemon juice.
No, don't touch anything else. A poem. But what does it mean?
This isn't a poem. It's a song called Rally Mohawks. That great moment when America rebelled against England's dominance. Then rally, boys, and hasten on to meet our chiefs at the Green Dragon. And I bet they hoisted a tankard of ale and invented a new nation. Along with deciding if this was the week they got to dump some tea into Yon Harbor.
Why ever did he keep such a song in his pocket? Did you sleep well, Kate?
Very well, thank you, Father.
Is that Wilde? Whatever is he doing now?
He's transforming you into a legend.
Oh, silly man. Kate, what's the matter?
Well, I just came by to tell you that I'm going to the zoo with Alice. We'll be having lunch in town.
The zoo? What on earth for?
Perhaps because it is my birthday today?
I'm so sorry, Kate. With Wilde's visit, Look, here's some spending money. Go and treat yourself to a thing.
All right. I'll go then.
Kate.
You never do anything right.
All right. Come here.
I've had enough of you not caring about me.
I do care. I've just had a difficult night.
Yes, Alice told me about the bomb, but you wouldn't.
Kate, I only want to protect you.
You don't understand anything. I wish Alice would adopt me.
Don't be ridiculous.
I don't know why my parents entrusted me to you. Did they really know you?
Kate, come back.
Holmes, I was looking for you. I have an idea about the accident.
Never mind. This one is murder.
What?
What?
You? You're the murderer,
You're
eh?
off your head.
Are you sure, Holmes?
Oh yes. A murder and an accident, because the killer, by electrocuting the cab, created this chaos. And so this multiple crash is now our great chance.
Our great chance? Of what, Holmes?
The culprit could not have planned for this to happen, don't you see? And it is possible that he is still here due to the prompt arrival of the police. Now I see 5 men who could be our murderer. Let us take a look at the map. Constable, I suspect 3 people here. Take them to Scotland Yard for questioning.
As long as I don't leave empty-handed, all's good and well.
I know that look, Holmes. Have you found something new?
That's right. In order to trap the cab, the killer must have known the precise route it would take. Or even, that could suggest the cab must have set out not far from here, in this very street, perhaps.
Remarkable. Holmes, I'm terribly sorry, but I must go to the hospital now to help tend to the wounded.
I understand, Watson.
But don't forget our earlier discussion. About Kate.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, we have a slight problem.
What happened?
One of the suspects, Mr. Reginald Butcher, has escaped. It was after we asked him to put his belongings in the evidence room. I'm sorry.
How did he escape?
He hit me in the face. Took me by surprise, you know, otherwise I...
Of course. That's all?
Just before he left the yard, he shouted, "Sorry, I'll come back later."
Sorry, I'll come back later.
He could have said that without punching me.
Is Inspector Lestrade here?
No, he will be absent for a couple of days. Can we keep this incident between us?
Mr. Reginald Butcher, I've come from Scotland Yard. Might we talk?
All right, but not too loudly. She's finally asleep.
Is she your daughter?
My pretty little Nell. She's very ill. Now look, I'm sorry I ran, but I had to see Dr. Blowberry today and the policeman wouldn't listen.
Don't worry, I understand now. What do you do for a living, Mr. Butcher?
I work at the office of the Underground Electric Railways Company.
Then you must be familiar with electrical devices.
I am indeed. Why do you ask?
It is of no consequence, but tell me, what are the reasons behind the problems you're experiencing at work?
Problems?
You have already received a written warning.
Yes. I'm often late to work. My boss doesn't understand my situation. It's difficult since my daughter became ill.
I see. Coincidentally, we found one of your company's cabs in the square where the accident occurred.
Really? Why was it there?
I have no idea. Do you?
No. But a week ago we had a technical cab stolen, along with its tools. Do you think that could be the one?
It's possible. Good day to you, sir. My name is Sherlock Holmes.
Thomas Garrett. Why am I here?
You are a witness to murder.
Of course. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that the police jailed an innocent man in order to close a case.
No one has been charged yet.
Yet.
Did you perhaps see anything in particular during or after this disaster?
Yes. I saw part of your bourgeoisie burn up and explode. It was spectacular.
Why did you remain in the square? Why not seek shelter?
Like the rest of the sheep, there were some wounded comrades, workers. I wanted to help them.
Do you have any electrical knowledge?
How do you know about that? You a mind reader?
There are electrical wires amongst your belongings.
Clever. Yes. I teach electrics to my comrades, since I'm currently without paid work. I'm self-taught, so we're not as dumb as you might think. And I don't want to work for bosses anyway.
I do hope so. Although the treatment at the Karolinska University Hospital is very expensive.
Yeah, it's our only hope. Thanks to the good Dr. Blowberry, she finally has a bed. We're going out next week. It's our last chance. Do you have children?
Yes. I have a daughter too.
We'd sacrifice our lives for our children, would we not?
Yes. Of course, yes. Mr. Butcher.
Shh. She's finally asleep. I knew you'd return.
You should go to Stockholm with your daughter. You will save her. I've made my decision. Leave now.
You understand? I was forced to do all this.
Perhaps you were.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Goodbye.
Holmes, at last you're back. We can't find Kate.
What?
She went for her lesson, but the teacher says that Kate never arrived.
Mrs. Hudson!
She's gone out to ask around the neighborhood.
Alice, where is my daughter?
Your daughter? You don't have one, Mr. Holmes. You never did.
My God! My daughter, what did you do to her?
What you could never do. I made her happy.
I don't care what you think. Where is Kate?
You fool. You're useless to her. Why even bother?
Holmes, this is useless. She won't talk.
I'll make her talk.
We don't need her. Just use your skill. I'll take care of her.
Kate, my dear child. I do not know when you will hear this message, but I do know that one day you will be here, Kate. My blood, my light. I rue the day I lost you in the living world. Death is nothing to me, except to leave you behind and with him. Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Will you have to understand, he is your worst enemy. But because he so loves to hide behind the mask of his dubious morality, he would never kill you. Holmes, Holmes. I'm certain that he never understood you, and I'm sorry for that. I hope you didn't cry too often having him as your father. I trust that you made him cry. Don't distress yourself, my child. I died by his hand, but your questions are over since you now know. You are my daughter. What matters is that you continue my work. Join our cause, you will be the emperors of evil. My Kate, my flesh, before Holmes' eyes and in front of the world. Kate Moriarty has arrived.
Moriarty. You. Kate. Oh no. She knows everything now. Why did it have to be like this? Watson!
Holmes, she tricked me.
Where's she gone? Watson, where?
I don't know. She left saying that she had to go and see a lady. A Mrs. Destiny?
Madam Destiny, she's a boat.
What?
Over there, Watson. She's abducted Kate.
I can't believe it.
She's a lunatic, Watson. She made a room for her dead father, and now Kate is with her. They're on the boat. Hurry, Watson. Stay here and hold on to the boat, Watson. Kate! Kate! Where are you?
Kate! I'm here! Just jump!
Alice! I'm afraid!
I know, but you'll be all right. Look!
It doesn't burn! Come on!
Kate! Oh my god, no!
Go away!
Kate!
I'm a Moriarty! I'm the devil's daughter! I'm cursed! I'm a monster!
What? That does not make you a monster!
Yes! That's why you've always lied to me!
I only lied to you because I was too afraid of losing you. My god, ask Watson!
I was lied to all of my life! Do you have any idea how that feels?
No, Kate! I know what evil is. You have a good heart.
Yes, he knows. Nothing can change fate. Listen! He allowed George Hurst to kill Lord Marsh, who was already condemned to death by tuberculosis.
I deal with criminals. These things can happen. I raise you differently.
You sent me away! And when I'm home, we fight all the time! You're ashamed of me!
No! Oh, it's me, Kate. I never learned patience. My own father was the same with me.
It isn't possible to escape destiny! The Rasco gang didn't. Holmes failed to reveal their murderer. Their death was their destiny, Kate.
Kate, don't listen to her.
And Holmes will be murdered himself. I have foreseen it.
I may be killed one day. It's the risk that I take, but my word helps to save other lives.
Really? And albeit? And Percy Fleming? You save lives? No! You enjoy taking lives! You can't save me either!
Kate, you'll be safe with me. I'll protect you. I care about you.
How could you trust him? He killed your real father, Kate! Why? Why did you kill him?
It was his life or mine. I had no choice, Kate.
See? Everything is determined! Remember the signs! Our meeting! The ceremony!
Kate, no. How can this suddenly mean more to you than your childhood?
See? It is time! The next life awaits us!
No, Kate, she would make the boat crash to kill you. She knew that you would hesitate.
I don't care! I don't belong anywhere!
You belong with me, Kate. We're family.
Daddy! I don't know what I'm doing! Help me!
Oh, God. Are you all right? She really was the devil's daughter. Over here! Hurry, the boat's going down! I'm sorry too, Kate.